Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Judge R from the God of High School. Let's get right into it. Judge R is a member of the judges who was recruiting people for the God of High School tournament. The judges themselves are selected personally by Mujin Park. He was the one to recruit Mori Jean for the tournament, and he later revealed himself to have betrayed Mujin and defected from the judges and becoming part of Nox. However, this is something I'll talk about a little bit more in just a minute. Judge R is a tall, slender young man, just like everyone else in the series. Relatively linear character design in the manga, if I say so myself. He has straight blonde hair that reaches past his neck. He has sharp, narrow red eyes that are often seen closed. His left eye has an omega symbol in it, while his red eye has an alpha symbol in it that are proof of his bloodline as being a child of the king himself. He often appears very calm and collected when talking to others, but can get quite annoyed if bested in any way. His pride seemed to be quite hurt when he won his fight against Mori Jean, however, broke his arm from a kick from Mori, and when Mubong asked him about it, he turned away from him, but he seemed quite irritated. Due to the recent happenings in the plot, Judge R is now seen to be cunningly deceptive, as he was able to have Mujin completely trust him while he used him and joined Nox as a revenge plan against the king to become the next Jade Emperor. His hatred is mostly focused on his father. However, he also harbors some level of hatred towards humans as a whole, because he felt that they were also a cause in his torment, because they killed the only woman who was ever truly kind to him, other than his mother. The woman was sort of like an adoptive mother, I suppose. However, she was then burnt at the stake due to being a quote unquote witch for trying to take the power of Judge of R all for herself, which is not what she was trying to do. She was simply just trying to be helpful to a young boy, but who gives a shit about that? Because people in the past in manhwas are generally just seen as pure freaks, aren't they? They just see anyone doing anything, they're like, burn them at the stake. That is all we shall do. And it's like, all right, well, that's new. He is shown to be a genuine fighter and experienced tactician, and he also feels a lot of gratitude towards Mujin, because he was the one who saved him from being hurt by mankind, and this is sort of why that he saved Mujin, even though he knew that he was likely to become like a thorn on his side, because he was a powerful fighter as a member of the Six and a pretty good tactician. He also hates the gods in general, simply because they were also part of his suffering, because he brought forth Ragnarok to lure the gods from the heavenly realm into the human world so that he can absorb them with his greed after their defeat. R was the one that broke the taboo that was on humans. This was actually had a really long discussion with a subscriber on this morning. It's most people, not most people, but because the manhwa is so convoluted and long, a lot of people have actually forgotten that it was actually R, along with the help of Ilpio, well, unknowingly help from Ilpio, that actually broke the seal on humans. He sort of like covered the entire earth in his tam, I believe it's referred to, or just his greed, and shattered it, breaking the seal once and for all. R, just a little bit on his history real quick. R is is a child of the king and his human mistress. That is a weird phrasing, my god. The king used him and his mother as part of an experiment to try to gain eternal life by fusing R with greed or tam while he was a fetus in the womb. This time, unlike the previous experiments, however, his mother and him both survived. However, his mother was sort of being eaten alive by the greed. They both managed to escape. However, his mother fell down or something. I don't know. It didn't make much sense. And she was about to be seen by the guards or something. And she basically encouraged R to eat her to gain the power of greed and to become human. And he was then deemed as a failure by the guards or by the king or whatever, and thrown away essentially. But he escaped and lived. And people saw that R didn't seem to age and that he didn't seem to die, so they wanted to eat him to cure their diseases. Yeah, past humans, man, they're a fantastic breed, aren't they? Um, Judge R is obviously a very skilled fighter, being a judge and later a bishop. He was able to destroy a huge row of trees with a single punch. What is that power scaling right there? What? Q also commented that R, for a man with an unnamed borrowed power and that is unable to do power lenderization, has a really powerful borrowed power. After joining Nox, he also gained new powers that allowed him to rise to the possession of a bishop. However, this turned out to be false because it wasn't really new power. He simply began using the power of the Tam that he had from the time that he was born. And he also managed to activate the Ark without the king's permission or confirmation, something that everyone else seemed to think was impossible. However, this was revealed to just be due to the fact that he shared the bloodline with the king, which I assume it's like a DNA test sort of thing. I don't know how tech works in mangas, man, or rather how it doesn't work. Not the point. Nonetheless, Judge R is the reason that humans are now able to fight on equal ground with the gods. So while his execution may have been, I want to say wrong, I don't quite know how to put it. He was a good man who was trying his best to allow humanity at a fair chance in being able to fight off the gods, even if he did it for a selfish reason. In this case, I suppose the ends justify the means, because after breaking the bond, he simply just died. Well, not really, but he just died right after, essentially. So in this case, I don't really know how you would classify him. I don't know if I would be willing to call him an entire villain. I suppose the best thing I could call him is like an anti-hero, I suppose, but you may disagree with me, and if you do, please let me know in the comments below. We're 7 minutes into this, Jesus Christ. R, because he is born with greed, he possesses the original greed and not the type that is possessed by Taik Jengal. I'm pretty sure I'm mispronouncing that name too, but we'll just run with it. And because he was born with it, it's a more powerful breed than Jengal possesses, which allows him to really erode anything and everything on Earth. Whereas Taik Jengal's is much weaker and has a much a fewer things that it's able to actually take and absorb as a whole. With R's absorbed the borrowed power, he became a bishop, as I mentioned earlier, and it transformed half of his body, giving his right side eye, making his right side eye black with like red irises, which was a really, really cool look. A single black wing and a white circlet. I've never heard of that word in the English language before. Around his head. His borrowed power can create a black flame that is difficult to extinguish, not unlike Amaterasu from Naruto. And I don't know how many of you get that reference, but it's just cool for me to say it. Like Taik Jengal, he can summon the gods. And although Moriji noted that because of his hastiness, the gods are much less powerful than they used to be, because he sort of called them down in a rush and didn't allow them to, I suppose, gather their full selves. I don't know how any of this works. A lot of this wasn't explained. It's just I'm making guesses here, man. With the energy stone and greed, R can bring back dying creatures to life. He displayed this by taking a dying bird, putting it in his palm, and returning it back to life. It is implied that R used the skill to bring Shim Bongsa back to life, and would have used this to bring Dewi Han back from the dead if Yomira pledged her loyalty to him. He also, for a little bit, held the Blade of Tahatgata and the Cane of the Sage, making him, I would say, top 5 strongest characters in the series at that point, or maybe perhaps even overall. It's sort of hard to classify. The power scaling in The God of High School is really odd. It's hard to classify. I'm thinking about making actually I'm currently making a top 10 strongest characters, but that'll be a bit hard to do given the power scaling, but I'm trying my best. So we are almost at exactly 10 minutes. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, share, all the basic stuff. And if you somehow made it all the way to the end, thank you so much. I'll catch you on the flip side.